Well, great morning. It's Sunday the 21st, and I think I'm just going to pull cards on, they've got some channel out there, and this woman is claiming that tomorrow is the rapture, and she's getting these messages from Jesus, and she's got a picture of Jesus in her backyard, and it's like, no. So anyway, I just want to pull cards and where is this coming from? What is going on with this? So the center of it, the nightmare. This is somebody that apparently is caught up mentally in this drama. Somebody, again, that wants escapism, nightmare scenario of probably hellfire, damnation, all of that stuff that goes on. So immediately at the center of it, again, somebody that's not sleeping well, that is having driven by some sort of mental ideology of unhappiness. Let's just put that out there. Going into it, we have this, thinks that this is a strength by putting this out there, but they're out in the cold, okay? So are they inside the church? No, they are outside of the church, wounded outside the church, and concocting these ideologies, okay? Rather than looking at really what is stated there. Again, they get caught and they are, again, outside of church. The challenge is this moving forward. Now, what are they going to do tomorrow when tomorrow comes and goes and there's no rapture? Okay. There's, again, somebody that wants to get to calmer waters mentally. Somebody that, again, is in a nightmare scenario. And the challenge is trying to get to someplace better. But they're concocting this unreality because above it, this is what's being birthed. And underneath of it, a failed mentality in the end, okay? Yeah, rushing forward, putting this out there, and it's going to come to nothing. It's not looking good for them. So let's see what we have underneath of this. When it comes to the strength and they're outside of church, this is their intuition. Now, in this case, this is their fantasy, okay? This is the fantasy in their mind that's being made up. And, the mind is very creative. This is where they live, okay? So that's telling me the strength of this is the mental projection of what they want to believe, but they're outside of church. They're outside in the cold, wounded, and just having these fears about hell, hellfire, damnation, etc., and creating this belief system. So when it comes to the challenge of moving and going to a better place, we've got her publicity going, okay? Caution. She should have been cautious about putting this out there. And above it, we have publicity, and this is drawn people of like mind around her, okay? The sun. So this is not just her that's putting this out there. There have been 4 or 5 other ones as well saying they're getting this communication from Jesus, and this is happening tomorrow, and they're going to, I guess, I didn't hear it, but I guess Tim was saying this morning that she was saying they might do a live so people can see them translated in the midst of this thing. Okay, so let's go through and break this down. At the center of it, this is coming out of this mental dream state of nightmares and driven by this unhappiness. And unfortunately, this is to her own destruction in a way. This is not benefiting her, whereas she wants to, again, get out of living, okay, into this better place. So she is in this fantasy mode. This is going into it, the strength of what's being birthed when it comes to this motion and moving, and what in her mind she is creating and putting out there and wants to believe it as some sort of fact. But in the end, she is outside of genuine understanding of what's being given, and is again having this, kind of the wounded warrior type thing, but really is outside of church and wants to be special, okay? So creating this fantasy and these things in the mind, quantum, the way it works is it can be very real. These experiences can feel very, very real, but it's a fantasy that's being made up and created by her own desires, wishes, fears, etc., that she has totally bought into and is projecting out there. And so what's going to happen when tomorrow all of this falls flat? Okay. Now there is the quantum, and that things can be changed by this, but there's also the larger scenario. And while they may have a few of these people that believe this, it's not going to override the consciousness of the many. So unfortunately, tomorrow this is going to fall flat. And then my concern is when it falls flat, then what is going to happen? Is there going to be this recognition that that this is a fantasy? What is going to happen with that? Because you need to get some temperance. Hopefully there's a temperance, a balance that comes in, because this is ungrounded. This is not balanced in any way. There will be a tempering of that ideology, of this road that's being created. Okay, again, wanting these angels to come, wanting to be pulled up in the air, wanting to meet Jesus in the air. Let's see what else we have. We have about the message, okay? What's being put out there from the past, and now what kind of strength, what is coming in. Now remember, in the last reading that was in the first position. Now she's going to have to reevaluate what's been said. The challenge is, where is this coming from? Okay. What's being held to? Who's putting that out? And the argument with that, okay? It's something that's going to be struggled with, okay? Who was controlling this? Okay. And then underneath of it all, where was it being driven to? Ultimately, underneath of it, we have loss, looking to the future. What's the long-term thing now? And with this scenario, we're back to where it started. This nightmare scenario and unhappiness and the birthing of this drama going forward. And it comes out of what? Seeds that have been planted and doesn't like the harvest, and so is creating this delusion, this illusion. So what's coming forward rapidly? Are they going to walk away? What is going to happen when it comes to that? So let's look and see what's underneath of it, driving all of this. Okay. What's driving all of this is birthing an illusion. Birthing an illusion. Really, I feel sorry for this person because they put it out there and, that this is fact and this is happening, and it's so, emotional with it. And it's going to 100% fall flat. So let's see. Going into it, we had this message of strength that she wanted to have. A rebellion. Okay. It's really a rebellion against what is actually in the Bible. Okay. It's a rebellious where she's living. Okay. A rebellion in the mind against what is happening in her world, in reality. Okay. So when it comes to the challenge of this, she's going to have to challenge the vision of the strength of this and the argument of where this was coming from, because it's not coming from Jesus, the tower, where she's bound up, where she's caught. The health of her mentality, okay, the health of it, that this was coming from independent, it wasn't coming from what she wants to think it was coming from. So we break this down, and there are a lot of major arcana with this, which is interesting. This temperance about the balance, or in this case it was imbalanced, and what was ruling this, what was over this, and underneath of it was how this was moving forward and the strength with which it was being put out, okay, because she was putting it out as absolute assured message, okay. She was putting this out as the message. The challenge is who's holding on to the power and the argument, and where did this come from about the visions, okay? And the tower. Now, sometimes the tower can be like a prison, okay? So it's not coming from Jesus, it's not coming from a genuine place, okay? So now what? Well, she say, I've been deceived, it's been a deception. My worry is this is going to cause even more imbalance, because this is really off the rails. Excitement and, this is happening, and, got themselves so worked up in this mental space, and it is 100% going to fall flat tomorrow. So then what will be the mindset? I've been deceived. Okay. Where does this go from there? because this is, a lot of people were writing in and posting, this stuff and believing this wholeheartedly. And so when it all falls flat tomorrow, what are they going to say then? Is Yeshua ben Joseph, is Jesus a liar? Is the Holy Spirit a liar? Okay. So what has she been listening to? You can gravitate to these things and create it in the mind, and this is what happens with quantum. The mind is very powerful in its creation, and whatever you latch onto, it creates more of the same. So this is one thing that I tell people, especially going through the Kundalini journey, that these things can seem very, very real, okay? And you have to look at it as the illusion that it is, okay? A transitory thing coming through. But this is created out of her dreams and her drama and her nightmares and all the scenario that's going on. And unfortunately, it's being put out to others, and people buy into that and create their own scenario with it. And they all become actors in the same play. But again, the concern here is what happens when it all falls flat. What happens tomorrow when nighttime comes and that day has ended? Okay. I mean, they've even given to the hour and the moment that it's going to happen a specific time in Israel. Oh, Lord have mercy. I feel for these people because they want it to be real so bad. But then when it all falls flat, I just see a lot of tears, a lot of confusion, a lot of confusion, tears, delusion. I mean, just, it's not pretty. Big burden. It's going to happen. Big tower moment. Oh, it's not good. Okay, when it comes to her religiosity. And I don't rejoice in this at all. I think it's very sad because there's a lot of going to be very disillusioned people, and perhaps even questioning their faith, and hopefully the questioning will lead to something more grounded and more in reality. And just go back to what Christ himself was saying, not these ne'er-do-wells that put out this stuff, this fantasy later that people have bought into, and now it is causing them to be really outside of the church, outside of what Christ was actually teaching. And they're wounded outside, feeling lost and in their imagination and in their drama, rather than holding to the truth that he came to give. So on that note, I'm going to leave this here, and I wish them all well. I wish they would just wake up to what he was giving from reality and from truth, rather than trying to chase these fantasies that lead to really destruction. They lead to, because it's going to fall flat. 100% it will fall flat.